You know what? Let's get into the breaking news as we await Jamie's return. Infinite Number, I know you saw the DM. This is pretty big news. And again, my source, and I only have a few, gave me the thumbs up to basically talk about this. So I'm going to read verbatim of the DM that I got 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning. And basically it says, boom. Just got the word that Todd Howard and Disney have indeed signed a 3-game deal plus DLCs for Indiana Jones. I just found out, and you can use this info for your respective channels. Well, there it is, folks. There's not a lot into it. Obviously, I can't reveal who gave me the information, but needless to say, this is super exciting because Umbra, I know you're still playing it. It is definitely a Boom and Umbra type of game because there is a lot to do. And if you like Indiana Jones, if you like open world games, if you like searching for clues and looking around the next corner for the next potential secret or find, this game is for you. It is everything any Indiana Jones fan would want. And I think that it's so damn good, Umbra, that even if you've never been introduced to Indiana Jones and you thought that Nathan Drake was in fact the OG, you're going to find something here. But let's get into the breaking news before we get your hot takes on the Indiana Jones, because look, this is a big deal. Now, yesterday we learned that, and again, it's a 1 week number. It's don't base your whole Indiana Jones is selling out everywhere mentality. But we did get some information yesterday that for the week of the 14th, it was the second highest selling game for monies that it earned, right behind Call of Duty Black Ops 6. So Black Ops was number 1, Indiana Jones was number 2. And why that's important, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I get it, it's just a week. But the caveat here, Umbra, is the fact that we're rolling into Christmas. That's one. Number 2, it's available on 2 services for quote-unquote free: PC, Xbox console, and PC and a Game Pass for PC. So there's 2 places where you could literally just drop your money, play the game, and be out. But apparently a lot of people are buying this game. And, well, it's because it's a good game. But how do you feel about the confirmation this morning of a sequel, multiple sequels being signed between Todd Howard and Disney?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good. I mean, this game is great. You know, it's funny. I was talking to more people. The more people I've talked to who actually got a chance to get their hands on this and play through it, some people actually have called it their game of the year.
Yes.
Unironically. Like it's so funny to me because like I am like me and you had a great time. I'm not finished yet. I still have. I'm so weird because I start deviating to other games too. But I got to finish it up. But when I get into this, man, I start to search around and look for things, and it just takes me all day. I was talking to Rand. I had him on the show a week ago, last week, and he was like, "You're still on that?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "You sure you didn't just go to sleep or something?" Which is possible. Don't get me wrong. I will do that. But no, this is just a case of me just like enjoying the world that we're in Indy. Like the Vatican kept me on hold, I told you, for about close to 20 hours just because I was taken in by how well they represented, everything in there from the Sistine Chapel to everything else. It was just so well done. Games like that I get lost in. Same thing with like Assassin's Creed. So
yep,
this is a plus for me right there. I think that Machine Games did an excellent job of just giving you the essence of what indie is, like really. And Troy Baker, to his credit as well. Like everybody delivered when it came to that. So I really, really am enjoying this game. I don't know where I would rank it as far as scoring wise just yet, but it's at the high 8s right now for me. So I don't know what it'll be at the end of it, but I'm loving it. I love what they're doing here, and I would absolutely love to see them do some more work on this. It's I would say this too. I don't know if I confused this with something else, but when you gifted me, for instance, that the Anywhere code for Indie.
Yes.
By the way, thank you again.
It's our pleasure, brother. It's our pleasure.
when I went into it, I could have sworn when I downloaded that it said something along the lines of, you know, the game and that, I guess, DLC.
Yes.
I thought I saw that.
No, you did. You're correct in saying so. I don't know the exact name of it. I can look it up real quick. It is something with giants.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is a side mission in the game that you can
Mhm.
find that's a bit of a lead up to this DLC that's happening. So it's
Oh,
interesting how it's subtly in there, and if you don't play the DLC, you miss it. But if you found this and you started reading the paperwork on it, you're like, oh, it's going to make sense when you
got
get
you.
to the DLC.
Got you. Okay. So that's what that was. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, okay, Valentine. That's that Order of Giants. In my head, I'm like, oh
Yep.
yeah, DLC. I already had that in my head, but it wasn't about that specifically. So I just had I had misconstrued. So no, so this is at least not official, but it is unofficially confirmed that they're going to actually have an actual DLC campaign. That's what it sounds like. So that's a
Yes.
plus,
Yep.
and maybe a part two, right? Maybe a part two to this, and or not a part two necessarily, but a new indie. Because everything is not like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade Part Two, but it's like a next indie. I'm all for it 100%. I think everybody should be excited. I think they're only going to get better the more they finesse this franchise and do what they do. Like I said, their expertise in DNA pause is all over this game in the most positive of ways, and they did a great job. Honestly and truly, I think if you have not given Indy a chance, you all should definitely do so. It's a great game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, what you're starting to see, because we're rounding out the year. Obviously, tomorrow's Christmas. 6 days, you're going to have New Year's, and then boom, there it is. Here we go. 2025, and again, I had said this to you, and I've said this to many people, that one of my major concerns with Indiana Jones, even though I thought it's a phenomenal game, my game of the year personally, was that it was going to listen. I don't like using the term Xbox tax, but unfortunately it exists. And there has been more times than not that a game will come out, it'll be exclusive, and everyone will find something wrong with the game, even though the game is a masterclass achievement. Perfect example of that is Hellblade 2. You had people, Umbra, that reviewed the first one when it was a PlayStation exclusive. You literally have people saying that at the end of the game, they were crying uncontrollably and they didn't know what to do with themselves. What an experience! What a story! Telling the trials and tribulations of mental illness was so special. And so the second one comes out. The studio is owned by Microsoft. It is an Xbox, and it's a console exclusive for Xbox, but available on PC. And it does everything. And I'm not just talking about one or two things. Literally everything better than the original. The graphics, Unreal Engine 5, your favorite, is somehow benchmarked for this game. And you can tell because it looked amazing. The story, 2 times better than the original. The psychosis of one of the diseases that she suffers from really went in deep. The audio was better. Everything about Hellblade 2 was better than the original, right? Leaps and bounds, no questions asked. And it got beat up pretty bad. So that was my concern for Indiana Jones, because again, it does mean something to me personally, but not for a lot of people. But I am going to tell you this. Disney, as you know, currently as a whole, is in the cost-cutting business. They are scaling down on all of their projects that they didn't think that were going to work. They canned them. A lot of the Star Wars projects they canned. A lot of the Marvel stuff they canned because they're going through money. I will say something to this, keeping it with gaming. The fact that LucasArts signed a I was going to say picture, but a 3-game deal with Todd Howard says that they are incredibly enthused with the reception, how the game was made, everything, the care and respect that went into the brand. Troy Baker, like I said, it didn't get into the Game Awards this year, but somehow or another, this has to show up in the Game Awards, at least just for him to win the award. Because when you hear him, it's like listening to Harrison Ford. Like, it is uncanny how amazing it is.
Yeah,
So
he did a
to
great job.
hear
Yeah.
to hear that they signed a 3-game deal says that they are ready to. And again, it's just 3 games. If this thing continues to gain ground, it's not going to end just in December. People are going to discover this game, and obviously, it's releasing for PlayStation 5 in the spring of 2025. It's going to go to more gamers. Hopefully, it's well received there, and it finds its way into the Game Awards 2025. But like I said, this is, to me, a really big piece of breaking news, and I absolutely love to see it, because no one deserves this kind of accolades more than Machine Games, but more specifically Todd Howard, for trying to get this done. This, you got to remember, folks, he went to LucasArts a decade ago to make this game. And he kept on and he kept on and he kept on. And listen, there is no bigger indie fan than Todd Howard. So to see the studio get the accolades, to see him get a three-game deal signed, I listen, it is all positive things for Xbox.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And again, like going back to my man Troy Baker, I am aspiring to do the voice acting thing. This dude is a legend.
Indeed,
I don't know how he can be that good. Like, you hear him, his catalog of voices from the Joker, of Mark Hamill's Joker at that, and sounds just like him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference just about. And you know, to Indy, to Joel, to, you know, like, the man is too talented, and he brings all of that talent to Indy. So there is never a time where you're playing and you don't feel that's who it is. You don't feel like, oh, that's not Harrison Ford. No, you're going to think it's Harrison Ford all the way through, unless in your head you're just like, oh, well, that's Troy. I can tell when he makes this certain sound. But yeah, it's pretty well done. And the game, again, is just really, really solid. So I'm excited to see what Machine Games does going forward. I think it's just going to get better. I doubt it's going to get worse. You know, they've staked their claim on turning in great games. So and that, out of all the games I can think that they've put in, it's only been one that's been questionable, and that wasn't even made by them fully.
Right, that's the one with the daughters.
Exactly.
For Wolfenstein, which I did not. I played through it. I didn't beat it. I just didn't like it as much, to be honest with you. But you can tell it was not. Even though they helped, it wasn't a Machine Games joint, if you will.
Right. Yeah. So this is a positive. I'm hopeful for this. I do wonder though, like, if, I guess, just to throw it out there before we move on, is how long would this be before we actually see any of this come to, as you would say, fruition, as far as the DLC? Would it be next gen? Would it be?
Well, I mean, supposedly, the DLC that has been announced is coming next year, right? They didn't specifically have a date on that, so that's going to be out next year at some point. Is it going to be a year removed, kind of like the way Starfield was, a year to year versus, the actual release and the DLC? I'm not sure, but I think what they could do to keep people interested, because again, if this turns out to be a trilogy, and the first game is one of the games that were signed for this trilogy that we learned about this morning, that means that there are 2 other games that are currently in development right now. Again, the third one is nowhere near to be development. I'm sure that they're writing it as we speak. They're going to keep it moving. They have the assets, so it's not going to be 5 or 7 years to the sequel. I would imagine it might be around 3 or 4, because they have assets that work. And obviously, they're going to probably be launching the next one on the next generation of hardware. There's no doubt about that. But I think that there's an opportunity here to release DLCs at least once per year, keep the fan base engaged, keep the ideology of Indiana Jones in everyone's brain, and keep it going until the sequel. And then, of course, they can continue that story with DLC until the final one in the trilogy. I think there's an opportunity to do something here, even though it's gaming, but they could use a film like cadence. The way they incorporate some TV and film, like the way you see Marvel do it now, where some TV shows are incorporated into film, and it seems like that's what's going to be happening moving forward. I think that could happen here, Umbra.
Yeah, no, I can see that for sure. And it's also I'm noticing a pattern with just Bethesda. They had the same thing, like you said, with Starfield. They're having it likely with this. Doom, likely Dark Ages is likely going to follow suit.
Yep.
So I guess that's just going to be an ongoing thing for them. A year after release, we might get a DLC, a decent. I had to stop myself because I was going to say a meaty DLC, and I'm like, I'm glad I didn't say that. But yeah, you get a substantial. Stretch my vocabulary. We'll get a substantial DLC in the future from each Bethesda release.